Okay, so before today's video starts, I have to address the elephant in the room. Or in this case, the big dildo-looking thumb bandage. Basically, my dog's had a bit of a disagreement, started to have a little fight, and of course it's Daddy's responsibility to go in there and break up the fight. And basically, once I grabbed hold of Ruby and pulled her away from Essie, Ruby decided to go in for another whack, but instead got my poor little thumb. And of course, lucky for me, it was at such an angle that both of her upper canines went into my thumb at the same time. Meaning, if we have a little example thumb on the screen here, I have an open wound here and here. Oh boy. But I've been to the emergency room and they're not going to close up the wounds because they're dog bites and they don't want to like seal in any infection or anything. So I've just got to take antibiotics for a few days and hopefully it all heals nicely and doesn't scar too much. But look at her. I can't stay mad at her, even if she is an arsehole. But yes, anyway, Pokemon. Don't do that. Anyway, we start today's episode with the episode title, or as I like to call it, fucking spoiler alert. I should have combed my beard and mustache before I started this video. Now I'm really paranoid. Tell me my beard and mustache look nice today, please, in the comments. After Ash and friends spot a girl drowning in the water nearby, we see this guy up on a hill watching on through binoculars. He suddenly seems quite surprised, and honestly, I can understand why. Misty's taken action for a change before anyone else. Who are you? And what have you done with Misty? So, are we just going to ignore the fact that Tracey didn't even try to help? Like, he had a Marill that could have proved quite useful here, but instead just chose to stay on the boat and leave everything to Ash and Misty. Tracey is a bellend. Pass it on. So it turns out this guy's sister Mari is the girl that Misty saved, and as we can see, he's already very enamored with Misty. So from what I could find online, this guy's supposed to be in the region of 16 to 19 years old, and apparently fancies a 10-year-old. Lock him up, lock him up, lock him up.
Actually, Liam, I think you'll find Misty's 11 years old, not 10 years old.
Oh, wow, because that makes this any less disgusting. The guy clicks his fingers and suddenly all of the other lads around him thrust bouquets of flowers into Misty's face. Mate, how down bad you have to be ready and waiting to give a girl a bouquet of flowers on behalf of someone else at a moment's notice? Mate, that is tragic. Let's have a moment of silence for these poor bros.
Fucking boo!
Whilst dancing with Misty, the guy reveals that he's the Trovita Island gym leader and asks Misty to stick around and help train some of the other trainers there on how to use water-type Pokemon. Yeah, and I bet that's not all your little band of incels needs instructing on, is it, mate? I swear, all this guy needs is a fedora and we'd have an official nice guy in the Pokemon canon. The guy tells Misty she's not just a great trainer, but a great dancer too. Mate, you must not have met many dancers.
Ah yes, lightly stepping forwards and backwards, the sign of a true dance aficionado.
The back and forth between this guy and Ash pains me.
It's not polite to interrupt a private conversation. You're really being very rude.
Me? It's you who's rude.
Not rude. It's Rudy.
Oh! Christ, who wrote this dialogue? George Lucas? Rudy says he'll only agree to face Ash in a gym battle, even though technically as the gym leader he should be obligated to face all challengers, but fuck the Orange League, I guess. Anyway, he says he'll only face Ash in a gym battle if Ash can knock down all the targets along this little boat ride. What is it with these Orange Island gym leaders and target practice? I guess there really must just be bugger all to keep people entertained in an archipelago so forgotten about it doesn't even appear in the video games. Something you should never forget about is hitting the like button, sharing this video on social media and leaving a lovely comment down below. And if you can't think of a lovely comment, leave something generic like,
"It's quite appropriate that the creepy guy's called Rudy, because being a creep is actually quite rude, really."
Or just comment the name of the secret Pokemon I've hidden somewhere in the video. And if you're new here, thanks for giving the channel a chance. Hit the subscribe button, turn on all notifications so you never miss an episode of Pokemon WTF Moments. Why are 46% of you watching this and not subscribed? You want to watch them all? Subscribe, notifications on, that's the way to go. We're at 1.73 million subscribers right now, and if you subscribe, maybe YouTube will fix their little glitch and add that extra 0. After Pikachu successfully hits the first target on the course, Ash looks back to see that Rudy is far too busy flirting with an actual child. Never forget, he's flirting with an actual child and isn't paying attention to what Ash is doing. Although, Ash mate, don't even be mad. Just stop bothering with the targets and tell him you hit them all. It's his fault if he's not looking. Next up, Ash sends out Charizard, and this apparently annoys Tracey so much he develops a sudden tan. Seriously, this is how he looked before Charizard came out. out. How'd you get results like that, mate? Seriously, L'Oreal'd buy those secrets. Charizard uses Flamethrower, and sure, he hits Misty. But more importantly, notice that Rudy managed to find flame-retardant flowers. They must have cost a pretty penny. I didn't even know they existed. Didn't even wilt. After Team Rocket resurfaced in the river after their submarine got caught in a whirlpool earlier in the episode, they begin to recite their motto before Jessie notices Ash and friends heading towards them. Although, if you didn't know that they were coming, then who were you reciting your motto to? Now, I know I said a while ago I wasn't going to include Team Rocket reciting their motto to no one as a WTF moment, but mate, they'd gone so long without an incident like this. I thought they'd move past it. Credit where credit is due. James saying, "The target's right in our face," as Ash's next target moves in front of Team Rocket, got a genuine chuckle out of me. What can I say? Dad humor is my kind of humor. And yes, it makes my dislike of children very ironic, I know. Now, a general theme running through this episode is Rudy side-eyeing Misty whenever her attention switches away from him and towards Ash, and thinking that this means that she wants Ash and not him. A lot of poker shippers think the same way Rudy does and use Misty's attention turning to Ash to support their ship, but that's because they're thinking about things in a very tunnel vision sort of way. Because they're thinking of it in the way of, well, whoever Misty's attention is drawn to must be the love of her life. Bearing in mind she's 10. And a cartoon. But remember, you can pay attention to your friend excelling at something they're passionate about without it meaning you somehow want to fuck them. Also, pulling a face like this whenever a girl you're crushing on stops paying attention to you for a split second radiates incel energy.
These broads, how dare they not focus on me every waking moment of the day, even though we're not dating? I'm such a nice guy.
Rudy invites Ash and friends, well, I suppose Misty and friends, to dinner, and his sister says that Rudy's a really good cook. Wait, cook or cook? Oh god, I sound like anonymous internet forums.
He's such a beta cuck orbiter, am I right?
Still though, if the shoe fits. After that, Mari rests her hands on Misty's arse for an uncomfortably long amount of time before finally starting to push her in the direction of wherever they're having their dinner. I guess the creeps start out really young on this island. Grim. The next morning, Ash is making a video call to Professor Oak when Tracey butts in to show Professor Oak a sketch that he's done of something that he saw in the woods the previous day. And fuck me sideways, it's only bloody Ella Kid. And yes, to me, this is a WTF moment, because as a kid, I never picked up on this. I remember watching a little bit of the Johto Journey series when I was a kid, but I don't think I ever saw an Ella Kid before I went through my lame teenage phase of
I'm too grown up to watch a kid's show like Pokemon.
and ignored the franchise for like 12 years. It's only now, 20-ish years after I last would have seen this episode, that I look at this sketch and I realize
That's fucking Ella Kid.
in the next scene, we see Rudy's Pokemon, who are dancing in a sequence that doesn't really do anything for me nowadays, but I'm sure as a kid would have had me like,
The Pokemon are dancing, that's really good.
and that's fine, I get it, this is more for the target audience, but oh god, nobody panic. Weird bipedal dancing standing on its own tail Ninetales isn't real. Weird bipedal dancing standing on its own tail Ninetales can't hurt you. Rudy and Mari encourage Misty to have a little dance with them and the Pokemon, and then we get this direct quote from Rudy.
It'd be really great if you could stay here for good, Misty.
Whoa, hold on there, lad. You've only known her a day, and you already want her to stay forever? Big red flag. And nobody give me any of that love at first sight bollocks either. More like possessive, needy, desperate arsehole, if you ask me. He then says,
Mari would be so happy if you did.
that's manipulation 101. Make her feel guilty about even considering not staying, so then she'll stay. Rudy's a cunt. Pass it on. Side note, shippers will tell you that Misty looks away deep in thought because she's actually in love with Ash, but just can't say it. Did you ever consider that maybe it's because she's just not that into Rudy, but doesn't know how to break it to him because he's coming off super intense? Because that's the impression I'm getting here. I'm also getting the impression that, I don't know, if you use code ACE, you'll save money on G Fuel. That's right, you can support this channel while saving yourself money on a wonderful energy formula that has barely any calories and zero sugar and a whole heap of wonderful flavors just by using code ACE. You can grab yourself some Brain Drive. Brain Drive is a mix of pineapple, guava, and a little citrus twist in there as well, and it's absolutely wonderful. It's definitely up there. It's a flavor that I feel like a few people are sleeping on, but it's really amazing stuff. Remember, use code ACE to save 10% on your G Fuel order, and thank you very much in advance because it massively helps out the channel. All the support you guys give me through G Fuel is absolutely wonderful, and I really do appreciate it. Remember though, G Fuel is for over 18s only. Children do not need caffeine, although there is a hydration range that is caffeine free, so just bear that in mind. But for the caffeinated flavors, remember, they obviously contain caffeine, so drink them responsibly. Don't be a dickhead. In the next scene, Team Rocket are frantically trying to balance out their Magikarp sub on the top of this rock. But why? If they just let it fall, the sub would land safely back in the water, which it ultimately does anyway. So what's the issue?
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find that area's full of whirlpools like we saw earlier.
You mean the same whirlpools that earlier in the episode spat the submarine out safely in the river? Bearing in mind that today nobody's going to be doing target practice down that stretch of river. Again, where's the issue here? Direct quote from Ash.
I hope you're ready to battle, Rudy. I challenge you!
Ash, mate, you and Rudy are stood on the gym battlefield, and it looks like you both took a considerable walk to get there. I think he knows, mate. So the premise of this gym is battles where the trainers use Pokemon of the same type as each other, so like electric versus electric. Yeah, because that's always fucking riveting. And Rudy sends out an Electabuzz, who must be feeling a bit unwell, because his cry comes out as... Come on, mate, if you're gonna do it properly. It's pronounced... Hang on, why does this poor bastard of a commentator have to sit perilously across the back of this Pidgeot without even a saddle or anything, when there's literally a hot air balloon that's big enough for all the spectators? Did he do something wrong? Or does he just have rank BO? Direct quote from Tracey. They better be careful they don't fall off of that rock. I'm more worried about the guy falling off the Pidgeot, mate. That seems far more likely. Ash starts off by getting Pikachu to use Thunderbolt on Electabuzz, which has bugger all effect, and Rudy laughs at Ash for basically recharging Electabuzz's batteries. Firstly, that technically would hurt Electabuzz a little bit, it just wouldn't be very effective. Secondly, Ash, mate, when are you going to learn not to use electric type moves on electric type Pokemon? When has that ever worked out for you? I tell you what, I take back what I said about Electabuzz's cry. The new one is way more intimidating. Electabuzz sprinting at the camera yelling is absolute nightmare fuel. He sounds like some kind of insane psycho running up to steal someone's kid. Oh, it all makes sense now. Of course this is one of Rudy's Pokemon. Electabuzz knocks out Pikachu with a single Thunder Punch. Oh, okay. Electric type moves power up electric type Pokemon in the anime, unless they're used on Ash's electric type. Okay. Sure, makes complete sense. In fairness, it did gut punch Pikachu into next week. But surely by the anime's logic, the electric part of the move should have just powered Pikachu right back up. Misty has a flashback to Rudy's proposal from the night before and thinks to herself,
what should I do?
Now again, people probably hear this and think, oh no, the girl's in turmoil, wondering if she wants to be with Rudy or with Ash. But watching this back as an adult, she genuinely just looks like Rudy's pushy proposal made her super uncomfortable. And she doesn't know if he's going to take rejection very well, especially with the added pressure of,
give me an answer after the match tomorrow.
The poor girl just wants to let this lad down gently, but she's worried about how he's going to react. Okay, two things. One, if your Executor can only dodge attacks if it has music to dance to, you haven't really trained it in battle very well. And two, isn't a dancing Executor basically just a B-Tech Ludicolo? Just before it's forced off the cliff edge, Ash gets Bulbasaur to use Sleep Powder on Rudy's Executor. Mate, you're lucky this ain't Gen 6 onwards or your Bulbasaur would be dead right now. After Executor quite dramatically falls asleep and falls off the cliff, knocking Team Rocket back into the water in the process, Bulbasaur quickly saves it, only for Rudy to immediately return it to its Pokeball. Hang on, mate, it's only asleep. Man, I hate when they do this in the anime. Imagine if your Pokemon was considered unable to battle in the games just for getting a status condition. Absolute bollocks, mate. The commentator then says,
in the third and deciding battle, they're using water element Pokemon.
And honestly, go back and listen to it. He has the exact same energy as... Okay, let's go. After sending out Starmie, Rudy flicks his hair. And I don't know if it's meant to be water droplets or sparkles or what, but it properly looks like a bunch of dandruff just flies away from his head. It turns out Rudy desperately needs Head & Shoulders 2-in-1 anti-dandruff shampoo and conditioner. Pass it on. Rudy dedicates his assumed victory to Misty and describes her as the girl who saved his sister and stole his heart. Listen, This is a really important life lesson right now. And this applies to friendships in general, not just relationships. Don't pester. And what Rudy's doing here is pestering. He's already asked Misty to give him an answer to his proposal after the match, but is still saying shit like this. That is just putting extra pressure on her and not giving her the time or space to think about what she wants to do. Never do this. If you ask someone out and they say, oh, let me think about it, leave it there. If you've had a disagreement with a friend and they say they need space, leave it there until they come back to you. If they never do, say la vie, move on. But don't be out there putting pressure on people. It only ever leads to pushback. Basically, don't be like Rudy. Rudy is a cock. Me, Rudy Starmie knows Thunderbolt? Wait, that must mean
TMs are canon. TMs are canon.
Misty suddenly has a moment of clarity and starts shouting at Ash to do something to bring out Squirtle's real power. Ash replies,
I know that. I'm not stupid.
this coming from the guy who tried to beat an Electabuzz with Thunderbolt. Rudy hears Misty cheering for Ash and says to himself,
She wants him.
which often Pokeshippers will react to like,
See, even Rudy can sense that Misty really wants to be with Ash and not him.
when in actual fact, that thought from Rudy proves what a one-track-minded dumbass he really is. This isn't a case of she wants him, it's a case of she wants him to win so they can hurry up and get away from this overly pushy creep who assumed that she'd automatically be into him just because he exists. Unfortunately, nice guys only ever see the reality that they concoct in their own heads. And if you've watched enough content about nice guys, you know that's true. In order to escape Starmie's Thunderbolt, Ash tells Squirtle to aim its water gun at the ground, which blasts it off the cliff, and suddenly it learns Hydro Pump for no reason. Oh yeah, falling off a cliff. Of course that's how you learn Hydro Pump. None of this level 42 bollocks, just lob your Squirtle off a cliff and Hydro Pump it shall learn. I don't even know why it needed to learn Hydro Pump anyway. It wins the battle with Skull Bash. And seriously though, why didn't Starmie just use Thunderbolt again? Answers on a postcard. Apparently Squirtle Skull Bash Starmie so hard one of its limbs turned gold instead of purple. Squirtle Skull Bash is too OP. Confirmed. After giving Ash the Spike Shell badge for his victory, Rudy gives Misty yet another bouquet of flowers. Where he thinks she's putting all of these, I have no idea. Misty then goes to say something, but stops herself and just says, thanks Rudy. Smart move. People like him are notoriously difficult to get through to. So rather than start an argument by telling him exactly how creepy he really is, it's better to just get out of there at this point. Man, seriously, the whole Misty, Rudy, Ash scenario really comes across differently when you watch it back as an adult. Rudy tells Ash he's a very lucky guy, and Ash is confused by this. And of course he's confused, because Rudy's talking to him like he and Misty are an item, when in fact they're just a boy and a girl who happen to be friends. But because Rudy's a teenager, of course he doesn't understand that concept. None of them do. All I can say is, thank God Misty and Ash never have to come back to this island again. Christ. So those are my WTF Moments of Pokemon Season 2, Episode 23, Misty Meets Her Match. Let me know your favourites and any that I missed down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Head to twitch.tv/AceTrainerLiam for all of my live streams. And of course, use code ACE for money off G Fuel. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.